Buckle up, sports fanatics. This is the Sports Chasers Podcast, your HQ for in-depth sports talk. Join host Kevin L. Warren and crew as they dissect the hottest stories, ignite debates, and bring you closer to the action. From locker room whispers to expert takes, we cover it all. It's game time, so strap in and grab a drink. The Sports Chasers Podcast starts right now.
Hey, good morning, everybody. He's having a great Saturday morning as this is being taped. Yeah, this is the Sports Chasers, man. We're coming to you. We're not live, man, but just the interview sessions, man. And today we have a really good treat for you today. Hey, man, before we start, man, make sure you like, click, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you the notifications for all, hit the bell for all the notifications. And those that listen to me, the sound of my voice on the podcast side, give me that what? 5-star review. Love us or hate us, let us know how we're doing. We'll introduce Dan. Dan is with us today because we're talking hockey. Dan, what's up, brother? How are you today?
Good morning. I don't know, any morning's good, but hey, we're here. You know, I'm used to this nighttime world, so a little early for me, but hey, good to be here. Hockey's back today. Thank goodness.
This Dan is happy hockey's back. Did a little winter break. Before we introduce our guests, like I said, man, make sure you go to our channel and make sure you hit us up, man, as we're going on this show journey with sports journey, excuse me, with the pitch. So let me pull up my my introduction here. We get people good introductions. So I'll start. So Chaser Station, we got a special one for you this morning. That I'll get people who work on the one thing that's flips great. Focus under pressure. He's a two-time best-selling author, global keynote speaker, and elite mindset coach, trusted by Olympians, athletes, and CEOs around the world. He is the creator of Unshakeable framework and the author of 99 Rules Serious. His work is about building commitment that drives real results when the lights are bright. Let's welcome to Sports Sessions, Mr. Sandy Cohan. Let me give us a round of applause.
Good to be here, fellas. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Good morning, man. Glad to have you today, man. And I'm glad. And we met on Podmatch, man. And that's such an awesome platform that we have. Not we have, but shout out to my main man, Alex Sanfilippo, man. That's his platform. That he's brought so many great creators together doing this thing, man. And I appreciate him for that, man. So hey, we're here to talk about mindset and all that good stuff. So Sandy, let's just start off with this. How did you get into this mindset area?
So I was down in Florida now, but originally from the Northeast. Grew up playing hockey, played prep school, college, Europe for a couple of years. When I got back, after my playing career was over, I spent about 12 years as a professional on-ice skills coach, right? So wasn't coaching teams, but individual skills, you know, whether it's skating mechanics or systems play. Had some training facilities up in the Northeast, and maybe about 8 years ago, exclusively got into the mindset space. And primarily the reason was, a lot of the athletes I was working with, everybody, best of the best. The talent was not a big margin, but it was so clear, some would make it and some wouldn't. And the more I kind of started paying attention to that, it really had nothing to do with the on ice portion, right? I mean, these were all like top performers. Studied it, spent a lot of time with it, and created an opportunity around it. And I maintain that it's, I think it is the ultimate separator, and I wish it was something that was maybe a little bit more prevalent when you were younger. But in any event, that's kind of the long-winded portion of the journey.
Got you. When you say pressure doesn't build you, it exposes you. What do you really mean by that?
I think that, so when I say mindset, I'm talking the big seven are belief, attitude, grit, focus, emotional control, discipline, self-awareness. So the ability to control and manage performance is somewhere in there, I think, for anybody and everybody, certainly athletes. So from a pressure standpoint, one of the biggest challenges with pressure is, where is the mind? Is it in the current moment, or is it in a potential consequence of running the tape forward? Like we're not settled. So that ability to kind of manage through pressure, high stakes situations, I'm a firm believer that when that moment comes, how you have prepared, you're either going to thrive or you're going to sink. And both, I think, are learned behaviors. But the biggest separator, I think, between those who achieve and who don't is their ability to manage grit and focus. Those two things are the biggest ones.
Gotcha. You work with some top people like Olympians and pros. What are some of and these are elite people, what are some of the mistakes that you see that they make?
It's oddly, it's very, very human. We all go through it, right? I mean, we're all humans, but it's classic overthinking, negative self-talk. We've all done that, especially probably on the golf course, miss a putt and, just go berserk. Yeah. But the way that we view ourselves or talk about ourselves or think about ourselves, that's a big deal. So, a lot of overthinking, I think some confusion there in this concept of confidence. Confidence is not something that, is really just felt. Like it's a choice, it's an active choice. But I would say the biggest ones are self-doubt, worrying about what other people think, how they're going to be perceived, how they're going to be viewed. But I think probably the biggest one is, what should they be thinking about? Like we spend so much time saying internally, don't be nervous, don't this, don't that, and that's not how the brain works. The brain doesn't need to carry those negatives. The brain wants specifics. So it's a lot of time reshaping and reframing, what shouldn't you be thinking about?
When I saw you, that when me and you connected, and you kind of use this mindset frame from you talk to the Olympians and the hockey players and athletes, and maybe Dan can help me on there. How does that really reflect for a hockey player? Because what hockey is like, it's fast paced, it shifts, it's you're in and out. Maybe for the goalie, sort of, or he might not have a good day, holds, but just kind of what.
It's any sport. I mean, as I've been doing this long, and my background was in hockey, and I worked with a lot of pros, men and women, a lot of college players. But it's same for football, same for tennis, same for basketball. I mean, we all go through letting that tape, either run too far forward or get stuck in the past. So every performer, really kind of gets challenged with this concept of, right now has to be the most important moment. The last shift, last play, last anything, has nothing to do with this current moment. And every day is a new day to reset. You always hear like hockey players are quintessential. Like they do this all the time, but someone sticks a mic in front of their face and they have some go-to phrases, like, we're just trying to get pucks deep and, a lot of battle and get pucks on net. The irony though, is while all those things are true and other athletes talk like that, that is what makes them pros, like their ability to constantly reset. For them, there's no difference, a Friday night game in the Garden, than like a throwaway game on a Wednesday in San Jose. I mean, their ability to be a pro, you know, is you got to flip that switch, and that is why they are pros.
Got you, Dan. Did you have something follow up with that?
No, I just found it kind of interesting that, like, I guess it's word salad that they like to use, you know, when they do the interviews. And you know, occasionally you get someone that actually just speaks on whatever the question is. But I just find it funny because almost every time you see an interview, it's like, oh yeah, you know, what do we need to do to get better? Oh, we need to get deep pucks deep. We need to, you know, press the deep pads. We need to get pucks out, make good first passes. It seems like it's all scripted, so to speak.
You know, I think a lot of it I think a lot of it is, but that's it's like a double-edged sword, though. I mean, you hear basketball players talk about that before that, you know, when they get a microphone stuffed in their face at halftime or, you know, anything. I mean, that ability to perform right now, you know, like right here, right now, to be where their feet are, to be bigger than the moment, that is a skill. And that, you know, the brain doesn't know the difference between thinking about going on a 5-mile run and then actually doing it. You know, like that's not how the brain works. So, you know, after Conor McGregor's like first fight, you know, someone said, you know, weren't you just freaking out when you walked into the arena and there's 25,000 people and the lights going crazy and the music? And he said, you know, no, because I've done it 10,000 times, you know, and the person was like, this is your first fight, you know, and he said, up here, I've done it 10,000 times up here. So it's a humongous part of sports, but really, I think any high performer, you know, pick your profession. Everybody has to deal with pressure. Is it real? Is it imagined? And, you know, what now? Ultimately, everything is a giant, like, okay, well, what now? You know?
Got you. I know you said you deal mostly with hockey players. Let's say, for instance, like, you know, you got other sports where players get the yips, or you get players like basketball players like Ben Simmons, who looks like he totally forgot how to play basketball. What would you say to these folks? How would you kind of reset them?
So first off, it's the exact same. I mean, I work with a lot of lacrosse players also, and you know, other sports, but ultimately it's the same. It's the same issue. It's the same challenge. And number one is always what is success? Athletes are inherently famous for speaking in terms of outcomes and results. Outcomes do matter, of course, right? Win, lose, score, not score. But the irony is that the best way to get those outcomes is to focus on the actions and behaviors that, when and if you do them, lead to those outcomes, right? So it's like, you know, in hockey, like, I want to be a goal scorer, you know, well, do you shoot? Like, that's an inherent thing, you know, like, you got to take chances, make plays. So ultimately in every sport, I think it's the same, but you got to define what success even means. Because very rarely, and to your example, you know, he didn't forget how to play. He's just unable to get past the moment, you know? And that's a real thing. I mean, it's performance anxiety is a real thing. So shrink it, keep it narrow, right? Like, a lot of times I think we are focused. I wish I came up with this. I didn't, but I heard this ages ago, that I think a lot of people think that they are focused when really they are aware. So awareness would be like looking out of a window. Like, hey, there's my neighbor, you know, there's the dog, there's the mailman. Like, that's awareness. That's not focus. Correct. Focus is like looking into a mirror, you know? And elite performers, they look in that mirror. They don't worry about blocking out. They lock in.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Nah, when like I said, when I started, you know, when we was about to speak to you and speak to you on some of these things, I know sometimes the mental thing is sometimes you get the block, you get where like, man, like you said, you didn't forget the play. You just, what did you just say? I thought that was,
Yeah, you get overcome by the moment. Yeah, you almost can't get out of your own way. This is what I think about on the mindset piece. People say mental performance. I say mindset only because it's not like it's just working with broken people. You know, like there's nothing wrong. Like, why would they know unless someone showed them? But I think the mindset piece, that's the foundation of the building. So I don't care what sport you're playing. I don't care what you're trying to stack on top of that building. You can't talk to me about the third floor balcony if the foundation of the building isn't strong. That's for every single sport, right?
Right.
And you see with kids, right? Like kids freaking out, losing focus and confidence. You know, they don't have those foundational skills that I don't know if they were ever taught those things. So I think mindset is so key, because that is where everything starts, middles, and ends.
I got two other examples for you. And I remember growing up, I remember, not a Mets fan, but I remember when Mackie Sasser, when he was the Mets catcher, he throw back to the pitcher. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
And as a
Chuck Knobloch had
Sandy, that was my next guy. I was no.
Either throw the first base.
Yep, that's what I was going to say next. Go ahead, expound on that for us.
No, you're right. Like those guys. They're professional athletes. I mean, they're more talented in their pinky than we are in our entire body.
Correct.
That is a mental block, and to break it down in the most basic terms, this is how you can understand it. That if I said to both of you right now, don't think about an elephant. Don't think about an elephant. I can see, Dan, I can see you smiling. You just thought about an elephant.
Inherently, you're going to do
though,
that.
right? Everybody does.
Yeah.
So that's how the brain works. So like in Chuck Knobloch's case, and then he was very, very famous where he was like, you know, don't think of like there's a problem. They're like, well, the more you, whatever the don't think about is, like you're almost inviting your brain to go to that place and then try to claw your way out of it. Right. So it's like if I wanted you to think about a tiger, I'd say, think about a tiger. I wouldn't say like, don't think about an elephant, you know? So specifics always rule the day. And the brain will follow. But I think a lot of those times, you know, we all, that happens to all of us, right? We're like, don't be like first tee box and golf, right? Be like, oh, yeah.
Keep shaking.
That's right. And because that's what we're thinking, right? We've all done. I just did this the other day. I'm like, there are so many people there. I don't even know those people. I didn't care. But I was like, and I do this for a living. I'm like, God, you know, those thoughts start going. And the more you think about that, it's like, you're like, don't think about that elephant.
Did you hit it 275 yards or did you slice it?
You know what? I was such am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was feeling like such a bitch. I think I pulled out like a 3-iron. I didn't even hammer it. I was just like, I just got to get past this first tee box. You know, we've all been there. I had like my family in town, you know, I was like, oh, but that's why that happens to those guys. And it's like, the harder you try to pull yourself out of it, you know, the more you think about it. And the human brain, like, we can pause the tape wherever we want. Like, you know, a lot of times we just kind of stick to those bad sports plays or memories. We almost kind of think them and we can't stop thinking about them. Well, you can pause the tape wherever you want. Like, you don't have to pause the tape on that bad moment. Pause the tape on a good moment, you know?
Gotcha. That makes a whole lot of sense. In sports like hockey and basketball, how do elite players reset mentally after a mistake? What would you do with them in real time?
So a lot of them have a phrase or a word, or like a physical action, a reset, a breathing technique, something that literally is, for a lot of them, literally it's now what, that phrase, now what, right? Like, I don't care what just happened. Like right now has to be the most important moment. It requires a lot of practice, but normally it's a mental trigger, a word, um, some guys that when they're wearing equipment, they're moving their hands inside their gloves or they're tapping their toes, something that gets them not even so much away from there, but it gets them to right here, right now. That's the only way you can navigate through it.
Wow. Dan, did you have something for that?
I was just thinking, like, when you asked that question, if you watch a goaltender that maybe gives up a stinker, and they do the same thing. Like I know, like Marc-Andre Fleury, if the guy hit the post, he always rubbed the post, or if someone scored a goal, he always would go to the corner and kind of do a little reset, and then come back. And you don't think about it, but if you watch sports, you can kind of see what their routines of players are when something negative happens to them. Throw an interception or give up a bad goal or whatever the case may be. But knowing what you're telling us now, you can kind of see it in action of these top athletes, kind of what their routines are or how they get back to that area. Which
how they practice, how they prepare for it, and also like that's why we compete, right? Like so I'm a Caps guy, right? So we probably have history, Dan. Yeah, we have beef. That's all right. But
Yes, you do.
yeah.
We'll get it a little bit.
Like the ability to kind of like pull yourself back to whatever is like next play mentality is like a big, I can't remember why you said Caps play, but it's a big deal. And for a lot of those team sports that are happening very, very quickly, where there aren't a lot of whistles and the reset has to happen, like that sort of stuff has to really be practiced. It has to be, you got to be all in. You can't kind of dip a toe in. Like you're either all in on this moment or you're not.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that's my thought on that. But yeah.
So let me ask you this: in the Unshakable framework you was talking about, what's the pillar most people overlook, and can that be change everything?
So the first book I wrote was this book called 99 Rules Every Athlete Needs to Know. I'm going to go on record. I was not a huge reader when I was younger, but this is the kind of book I would have wanted to have read. It's quick. There's like a rule, maybe 5 or 6 lines about it. You can open up to any page in the book. You can pull nuggets out, highlighting stuff. And they're like ultimate resets, a lot of like motivation. It's not a how-to book, like step 1, step 2, step 3. That's not what it is. But it's a great reset tool. It's a great reminder tool. I knew that I was onto something. And some of my mom's friends, right, like these 80-year-old women down in South Florida, I'm talking about, Kevin, they're just like recreational golfers, and they're like, I was using with putting and or just whatever, like just athletes. So that was the first one, and the second one is 99 rules every sports parent needs to know, because there's no guide really for the parents. It's a lot of parents, well-intended, maybe not always making the right decisions. What do you say on the ride to the arena or to the event? What do you say afterwards? And so I created those 2 books. Both of those came out this year. Organizations, teams, executives were biting into them. So reading them and reminding, it's always a great kind of, I think, place to start about a lot of the work that can be done really on a daily basis away from the court, away from practice. I mean, so much of what I do is, how can you continue raising your baseline every day? Are you disciplined or motivated? Those two things are not the same things.
Gotcha. Dan, you got something?
No, I'm, going back to parents and stuff. Like I got a buddy that has a kid that is, 12, maybe 13, playing, what do you call it? Basically travel hockey.
Yeah.
And we had happened to go up when I visited back in Pennsylvania earlier this month. We actually watched him in a practice skills thing with Tyler Kennedy. It used to be Penguin. A lot of that, I think, which you talked about mindset and everything, that goes into even like the practices that these young kids have, then how it develops them as a player is important. And as a parent, like you're saying, I think also the expectations and what you say and how you deal with the child after said practice game, whatever, really enforces the mindset. So I think,
I think what you just said too is so important, because it's like, what is the mindset and what is the goal of ultimately, I tell people this all the time, parents. I'm in the hockey is the vehicle, sports are the vehicle that kind of got me into this, but ultimately I think I'm in the help make better human being business. Like, at the end of the day, we're all, the jerseys go up. It happens to everybody, right? So it's like, who's left after that? Like, what are those? What are the values? What's the integrity scale like? What's the compete level like, right? And that word, I think, from working with a lot of younger players or just over time, that concept of competing, what it means, what it doesn't mean, what the definition of success is. I think it's changed a little bit over the years, from when we were kids. But, if the goal is to compete, these younger people need to know, like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what it means. This is how you do it. These are the measuring sticks. And ironically, I'm not talking about points. I'm not talking about touchdowns. I'm not talking about batting average. Those are the benefits that come, but all the other stuff, that's the stuff that's important, right? Like the compete level. I mean, just go to any basketball court, go to any place for youth sports, and you're going to see it. It's not their fault. They're just kids, but you're going to see like kids hanging their head. You're going to see people slamming water bottles. You're going to see people crying, yelling at. Having the emotion is fine, but are we acting because of emotion, or are we acting with emotion? Like, again, that's different. And I think the more that people learn how to act with emotion, typically they're a little bit more successful, but they also seem to be more dynamic people, like just a better human being.
Mm-hmm. I like what you said, and you talked about competing and competition, and not to poo-poo on the young generation, but you're right.
It's different.
It's definitely different than when we was going on. I want to win everything. I played baseball and football in high school, and I want to win every game. I want to win. No, every loss. It's
right. I think it's okay. I mean, I'm a results guy. Like, winning matters. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. I know you're not saying that either, but a lot of these, I think what can continue to be taught to younger people is how to win. And a lot of times parents, well-intended, I know, we think the job it seems like it's become like prevent the fall. Sometimes the fall's okay. We want to teach the get back up.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't always have to block the bruise, that's going to kind of like build the backbone, like having the backbone is that's the lesson. So, yeah, winning does matter. But I don't think everything has to be explained away. Uh, um, when emotions start running high, like teach to get back up. Like failure is part of the process. I mean, that's like probably the leading essential ingredient. And in a day and age where we're like such a highlight culture on your phones, or this guy's hitting a home run, this guy caught 4 touchdowns, like we see all the highlights. What people aren't seeing though is that grind they went into that. No one knows what these guys and gals give up over the summer, their diet, how they're getting up in the morning, that's the thing. And I think more needs to be taught about that.
My mother this week, shout out to my mom, she made a good illustration this week. And she talked about something like that, about, sometimes, like you said, you can't protect your kids from everything. And it's okay to fall. And she, from the standpoint of, she said, you remember when we used to fall and used to get a big, she said, I didn't make a big deal about it. It was there. We went and got some alcohol and peroxide. I didn't like the alcohol, but it stung the hell out of me. But
Yeah.
But it formed what? It formed a scab, and you begin to heal, and you begin,
Right.
and when she illustrated, I said, "Oh, that's a pretty good point there." She said, "Yeah, can't protect you for everything. You see, some of this stuff you're just gonna have bumps and bruises, and that's going through the process, and like how you just explained, just going through a process. So,
Going through the process, I think environment plays a lot to do with it. Those people that we all surround ourselves with, coaches, family, mentors, peers, friends, like we become a product of that, typically for better or for worse. So I typically, in one of the questions or discussions I have with athletes, I want to know them as people. I want to know what decisions they're making away from the sport. I want to know who they're hanging out with, because all of that stuff is relevant. My dad used to say, you hang around the barbershop long enough, eventually you're going to get your hair cut. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the way it works. The apple typically doesn't fall far from the tree. So I wanted to create this other book that maybe could kind of help parents and, work. Mom sounds like a wise woman, even in those sports, if you had a bad game or something, like, she wasn't defined by your performance. It didn't make her a bad person or, like it's your thing, so as parents, like we're not it's their dream. It's our dream has changed. So let it be theirs.
gotcha. Dan, you have something on that? Dan is a parent. Well, used to be a hockey parent.
He knows.
No, that's all very true. Like you got to learn to fail to succeed. And if you don't, your child or whatever goes through that and figure it out, how to fix it, or the mindset of, okay, I need to let this go and go for the next play, that sport's going to be a long time for you, stressful. But and that's, kind of when Maddie was playing hockey, it was like, this was a newly formed team. It was an all girls team, and they didn't even really worry about the rules. They just taught them how to do drills, how to get better skaters. And then as time went on, they started playing tournaments, and then that's when the rules and stuff aspect came into it. So, that whole, how do you, I guess, respond to a game or whatever, hey, they're just learning. Let them go through it. Let them learn from it. At the end of the day, just being positive and encouraging. So like, there's a lot of, if you think about it, at least for me now, thinking about this, there is a lot of the mental game in this, and depending on how you go or receive the information is really dependent on your performance. So like looking at all these star athletes like McDavid and Crosby and stuff, and you see them interview, it makes more sense now. Like that you could see them just like
Compartmentalize.
Yes. Like, hey, that happened. It's over. Yeah. We played terrible.
The other thing, like those hockey guys, you can put in any athlete though. What they all share in common, like, this guy could be a great baseball player, that guy could be a great basketball player, maybe she's great at track. Like at some point, the common DNA thread there is that they understand why today matters. Today doesn't matter because we're going to win everything tonight. Today matters because eventually, when we add up all the todays, like that's the championship, or that's like the successful moment, right? So a lot of coaches or even bosses at work, they talk in chunks of time, like maybe a sales quarter at work, or a coach or scout talks in the season, like their stats. What they're really saying though is, show me all of your todays, over the past however many months. And that's the crazy part about professional athletes that we don't always see. Again, pick your sport, like the discipline, the amount of falls, the habits, the decision making, the compete drive, it hurts to not win or to get it wrong. Quitting is not even in the vocabulary. That's why I think so much of this mindset stuff is relevant, because all of those qualities, those are also the people that you want to be friends with, or you'd want to be your doctor, or, your real estate, like good character, quality people.
Wow, that's huge. What are the biggest distractions that hurt elite performers today? If they're here,
Social media. It's social media, because it's impacts, like the dopamine levels, right? Like you're trying to get, it's like you're always looking at your phone, like who texted me, but like that sense of value, that sense of purpose, and so much stuff that we see on social media. I mean, we know, like that's not life. That's a highlight reel. That's not someone's life necessarily, but also it doesn't mean that your life is inferior
to theirs.
That's right. Yeah, that's them. They do them, you do you. So I think anything that can kind of get into that pipeline, and the second guessing, the self-doubt, the thoughts, anything that gets you away from what is success. Are we measuring gains or gaps, right? Like it's perspective. The old thing, like, is this glass half full or half empty? Well, there's like a third version. Maybe the glass is just refillable. Just go to the sink and put more water in it. Like you can restart, but, I think that's a big one also, is that concept of the measuring gains, not gaps, right? Like if we were going on a 2-mile hike, we went up a mile, and we're going to sit down, have a thing of water, grab a bite to eat. Like physically, we're both in the exact same place, right? And if I'm looking down going, man, look how far we've come. And Kevin, you're looking up going, look how much further we have to go. Like we're both literally in the exact same place.
Right.
But it's like, what's the mindset? What's the perspective? And I think high performers measure gains. They're not searching for what's wrong. Because I don't know if it is wrong. They're Theo, Fleury spent all his time, Marc-Andre Fleury, trying to stop Ovi from scoring, and Ovi was practicing trying to score. So if Ovi scores or if he doesn't, like, I don't know if that's a bad play by the other one. Like, that's all that guy does is practice scoring,
Yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense. What's something simple daily practice that people can build some mental toughness in your opinion?
Any thought patterns that start with I am, I can, or I do. I am statements. I can, I do. Those three things, because all of a sudden, you start shifting away from this concept of like manufactured confidence. Like so many athletes are like, I want to feel confident. I want to feel confident. Well, I can help someone feel confident in like 5 seconds, but it's doing that over again, right? So if both of you think whatever the sports were that you really excelled at or that you played, if you go back and think about like the greatest catch, the greatest shot, whatever you made, like, everybody has their own highlight reel, right? Like the more you think about it, you can probably remember what arena, who you were playing against, what side of the court it was on, what the crowd was doing, getting mobbed by your teammates. And when you really kind of think about that feeling, right? Like there's a little fire in your belly, a little adrenaline, your chest goes out a little bit. Like, well, that feeling is called confidence. But the way that we got there was through belief.
Right.
So anything you can do to practice believing in yourself is beneficial.
That's very beneficial. That's very important that you said that, because people are always searching for something. So what separates people who talk about improvement from those who actually do it?
I think discipline. I think there's certain people that are focused on the trees and other people are focused on the path through the trees. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think a lot of it is, committing for so many people. It's almost sometimes easier to, I mean, how many guys have you talked to in your life that they always have like the I could have stories, like I could have played there, or I could have done that, or I had a problem with this coach and I'm nice. I can see it coming a mile away. I don't interact negatively, but what I want to say is, yeah, but like you didn't, like I know this, like I did it, but you didn't, right? So like that stick-to-itiveness, that being all in, that committing, that finding a way through, that's the discipline that, we're hungrier to get to the finish line. I don't care what you're going to put in front of me. If I want to get there bad enough, like that's where the focus is.
Gotcha. Where were you at when the Caps won the 2018 Stanley Cup?
I love this question. I was outside of the arena with probably like 40,000 other people. I'm a lifelong Caps fan. And it was like, I mean, it was, talking about how bad the Caps were and how we're going to fall apart in the playoffs, it was almost like, what Mets fans used to do, like what Red Sox fans used to do, the whole woe is me. So yeah, I was in DC outside the arena. I mean, it was unreal. It's unreal.
Did you stay for the parade and all that?
Oh, yeah. Now granted, this is, I'm older now, so my decision making is a lot better now than it used to be, but, in this like in the DC metro area, like,
Yes.
was a diehard Skinny fan back in the day.
Right.
Daniel Snyder, and I mean, I can't even talk about it, but
Yeah.
like nobody had won a championship, besides maybe the Terps and basketball, like from the Redskins. So, Caps come along, then the Nats. So it was a big deal. It was great for the city, and what Ovi did, Crosby, obviously, what he's done there, and certainly now he's the points all-time franchise leader. But being in a city where all of a sudden that happens, like it's hard being a fan of teams in cities that it's just like year after year you just take a beating. So I remember it well.
I'll let Dan follow up. Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that what that rivalry did for hockey was huge. Like the whole Crosby and Ovechkin battles throughout the years really kind of saved hockey during that time. There was, a lot of players going out of the league and a lot of younger guys coming in, and they were kind of the face of the league. And that, like, I remember the game. I think it was in a playoff game that both of them had a hat trick.
All right, exactly. It was in the playoffs. I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So yeah, for him to win a cup in Washington, I thought that was pretty cool. Even though like I really didn't like them or couldn't stand them. I mean, I went all the way to Landover when they played at Landover.
Yeah,
I want to say it was the '96 playoff run the Penguins had, and watch playoff games where the Penguins was playing against the Capitals. We eventually, I believe, it was Florida beat us at home. I want to say it was Stu Barnes that scored the goal.
Stu Barnes. Yeah.
What's even worse is he played for us prior to that. So, yeah, that brings a lot of memories back. The Capitals.
Remember the old Patrick division? It was just.
Oh yeah,
He's unreal.
Yeah. Kevin knows. I like this whole like overtime 3-on-3. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Dan started.
It's Kevin. I'm gonna get them all fired up. I'm just
Slow.
needling right now. I'm needling.
He's chirping.
A ridiculous outfit you're wearing right now. I can't even take you seriously with that shirt on, that hat on. There's a great documentary of the Penguins. I'm sure you've probably seen it. Like where like before Lemieux got there, I mean they were in trouble, like bankrupt and blah blah blah. And there's a good story about how they tried to do some promotional thing and they went out and got a penguin. Do you remember this? Like they actually went out and got a penguin to like walk around on the ice, but they had gotten the wrong kind of penguin. Like it wasn't a cold weather penguin. And the penguin died like within 2 weeks. It was just like crazy.
I do remember that. I was younger when that occurred. But yeah, like I remember as a kid, my dad taking me to the Civic Arena, and literally you could hear the conversation.
Yeah.
On the other end of the ice.
Yep.
Because there was like 3,000 people in the building.
Yeah.
Like Rick Kehoe, Carlisle, Mike Bullard, those days where they were just so terrible. Rod Huskins.
What those two have done, and you're
spoiled.
Spoiled, but yeah, I mean, you're more than that. I mean, you're Lemieux, Yager. I mean, you guys, you've had some of the greats. Malkin go through there, and you've seen them. I mean, that's not happening in every market.
Nope.
But yeah, I mean, but Pittsburgh, what a sports town! Holy cow! I give Pittsburgh a lot of credit. Big sports town.
Yeah. So when you said struggle through being a fan, you just look across the river and see the Pirates, and that explains everything.
Go get him started.
Yeah. Tell the team, Bob. Yeah.
You gotta have. Yeah, I can tell. You gotta be tough. You gotta have a sense of humor, and you gotta be tough to be a Pittsburgh fan. I mean, there's some markets where you gotta. I mean, you look tired, Dan. You look tired. I'm sorry, Ray.
But hey, I'm really excited though, because like now this year it seems more than ever that like in the last 10 years, like the draft is kind of there's good players, but like Bedard, Celebrini, the Schaefer kid, that there's more star power, or you get to see what kind of skills these kids have now than you hadn't seen in the past. Like I know Tortorella loses his mind anytime somebody does a Michigan, but that's the way these kids practice, or
right now the World Junior Championships are going on in Minnesota. So like U.S. played last night. I mean, and I was watching it. And I mean, these the skill level, I'm sure it's like this, in other sports. I'm just dialed into hockey. The skill level, I mean, these kids they're almost all of them are already drafted. 17, 18 years old. I mean, they're already like world class. I mean, it's unreal. I'm obviously a humongous fan of that sport, hockey, but lacrosse getting huge. Love that. It's not all just like the football and baseball and basketball. I mean, sports are such a big part. So that's why I was so excited to come on with you guys. I mean, you guys got a good thing going.
Man, I appreciate that, man. And that's just how I grew up, man. I played pretty much everything. I only baseball, football, in high school, man. Play roller hockey in my neighborhood. Play basketball. Not too much soccer, but I did play it a little bit. I guess ghetto soccer. I guess
You think soccer is ever going to fully take off?
I mean, I know
That's a great question. I wish I had the DA on, one of our other co-hosts. He'd be dialed into soccer. I don't know, man, because I mean, I know the MLS is now changing the schedule where now it's going to be on the same European schedule, starting next year, I believe. But I don't know if it'll ever. Messi's been here. Like I said, me, you live in South Florida, man, and
Yep.
when he first got here, I went to a couple of games there. It was phenomenal, man. But I don't know if it can capture that
I
moment.
think it's just cultural, right? Like I don't know if there's enough action, like in, I don't know if it's our attention. So I don't know what it is. It just, I want to like it. I want to like it. It's just, there's not enough action for me. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's not enough,
Gotcha.
I think part of it too, though, is like nowadays, like there's a lot of emphasis for kids, but hey, this is what for college, and yada yada, that kind of thing. Where I think, like, if you look at soccer, it's not kind of the like professionally, like it's not the same type of salary or future in it. And
you know what? I didn't know. I didn't cut it off. I didn't know a lot of this. So we've been down here, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or something. But I got a buddy, Kevin, who's in Boca, and his son is a very, very high level soccer player. I think he's like 13 or 14. I mean, he's already like going to Europe in the summers. I mean, they are crazy about soccer, like in South Florida. I mean, it's a big deal. But it's it's unreal.
Nah, definitely is. Like I said, MLS is trying to change the thing. I thought it was good at first when they went against the European schedule.
Yeah.
But I guess now, they're thinking about the big bad wolf, so to speak, the NFL, because of how they're going to be. Looks like going up against the NFL. So we'll do how that goes. So.
Is the Kansas City Chiefs run over? Like for do you think that dynasty's done?
It looks like Kelsey's going to quit, retire. Mahomes, who knows how he's going to be after that surgery. I mean, modern medicine has, these guys making medicine. I don't know. I just know for this year. See you later. I'm good with that. I'm sick of the Chiefs. Everybody's a Chiefs fan. Everybody's a Golden State fan until the next one rises.
That's right.
And then there'll be the let me ask you a hockey question before we're out of here. And I know this burns Dan up, so that's why I'm asking it. Does Atlanta deserve another chance to get hockey the third time?
I have a very strong thought about this, and the answer for me is unequivocally no.
Okay.
No. I love what's happened in Nashville. I love what's happened in Vegas. I spent a lot of time out there. I think there are other markets. I don't know I just think there are better markets, and I think that city has just proven that there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with it. it's not a hockey town, and I don't think that it would support it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But so I hope it doesn't happen. I think there are other places that I wish it would happen, but I hope that's not one of them.
Dan?
See, Kevin, I'm not the only one. And all those that poo-pooed on me on the internet, I'm in the same agreement. Like, third time's not the charm. Just because you move it to a different part of the city, I don't think, like you said, like there are so many other places that haven't had the opportunity to have hockey ever that I think would be a better place to start. Like
Houston, Kansas City.
Yeah. I mean, look at like Phoenix or Arizona, whatever they were calling them at the time when they shipped them to Utah, which made a huge difference for that franchise as far as fans and a backing. They have an arena to play in that they're redoing completely from, basketball to the hockey aspect of the arena. Why would you keep going back to the same place that said, nah, we're not going to follow this, instead of taking it and putting it somewhere where people are begging for it?
I think it's very much trying to just force that square peg into that. Like, well, why? There are other markets that I think would support better. And, hockey's growing so fast, what's going on with the women's game and those markets. I also think, climate has a lot to do with it. And I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm in Florida.
I was going to say, man, the Stanley has been here the last 5 years.
I said that I think it has something to do with it. I think, I think culturally, in those climates where maybe it's not as heavy of a lift, like you either got to have insanely high socioeconomics or maybe some high socioeconomics, but also like weather and cultural, I think kind of fingernails into the sport. It might be climate or whatever, but so I think there are other options, but we'll see. We'll see.
I think so too. Down here, you have so many Northerners from in the Tampa, in the South Florida area. And now they're younger generation now becoming Panther and Lightning fans. So it's a win-win. Like Stanley Cup has been hanging out down here in the Sunshine State the last week. So
that's right.
It's amazing when you win how the sport grows.
That's right.
Think of it, maybe if Atlanta was good when they had the Thrashers and got far in the playoffs or won the Stanley Cup, because look, Carolina, they won it in 2006. I don't think they've won since, but they have an electric building. Like the fans are crazy out there.
Well, look at Vegas. Vegas went to the Cup Finals the first year, and they've won. I mean,
yeah, but that was a pre-made roster. The way that I guess the expansion draft went, they went the opposite of the norm, where they took some veteran players, be good immediately, opposed to most times teams take other younger players or whatever and get all the draft picks that they can to try to build it that way. They took the shortcut. and
it is Vegas. It is Vegas.
But hey, and that's why they can do it. It's a happening place, and they need to win immediately. So,
have you ever been to a sporting event in Vegas?
I actually went to, I don't know if this is considered a sport, but Supercross finals. I was at Raymond James Stadium, UNLV football stadium, years back. I went to it was the final, the championship race.
And they just do it. I mean, it is a production. I mean, it is.
I can imagine F1 there.
Oh my gosh.
It's really crazy.
This is the hockey. I mean, everything is just, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I've seen sometimes they're opening for Vegas, and I was like, man, this is, like you said, definitely a production. Man.
Oh, it's a show.
It's a show.
Yeah, absolute show.
They have a residency there. Let me get this one last question to get out of here, Sandy. What's What's the message that you want our audience to remember the next time they're under pressure?
I hope it's a foundation of talent matters. I think talent moves needles. I think that mindset is what moves mountains. I think mindset is that's in the roots, right? Confidence and that sort of stuff's just kind of the tree. You want deeply rooted. But I would say that, and probably just, it's got to be right here, right now. Like this has to be the most important moment, and see how it plays out.
Got you. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Mr. Sandy Cohan. Let's go get in the applause. Sandy, this has been really great. This has been really fun. I really want to bring you back when we and Dan talk some more NHL and stuff like that, man. So I'm gonna.
I love it. I love it. You guys are so entertaining, man. Congrats on all your success. I know you guys are grinding, so I appreciate you making time for me.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt, man. Sandy, don't go nowhere. We'll have some words right after this, man. But hey, this is the Sports Chasers, man. Hey, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, man, and make sure you check us out. We'll be on the Monday night shows and our Thursday night shows, man. So on behalf of myself and your host and moderator, for our guest, Sandy Cohan and Dan the Hockey Dude, this is the Sports Chasers. Y'all be good, be great. Hey, we'll catch you on the flip side. I want to say peace. Take care.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Sports Chasers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms, and connect with us on all social media channels for exclusive content and updates. We'd also love for you to join the conversation, share your thoughts, and become part of the Sports Chasers community. And remember to tune in next time for some more real sports talk. Until then, stay frosty.